adopt them, like Dr. Pugh has suggested that we do today. Um, so we're not pushing anything. We are doing our jobs though, which is making sure that some very old standards and guidelines are being updated today. Also, another thing that I want to address, which is very concerning, and that has caused a lot of negative feedback, is that people have said that the state board and the Michigan Department of Education want to change it where parents cannot opt out. And that is not true one bit. Not one person has said that they want parents to be forced into a situation that they don't want to be forced into with sex education. Not one board member has said it. It's not, you cannot find it on tape. You cannot find it in the media, in an article, in an email. It is simply not true. It is state law that parents have the option to opt out. No one wants to change that. We want you to be a part of your children's education. I am a parent first, and I know as a parent, I was very involved in my children's education. And so I want to make that clear. It is state law. These guidelines do not change that. These guidelines do not enforce um, districts to even have sex education. If a district does not want to have sex education, they do not have to. That is not a mandate. So I just want to be very, very clear, because what has been said, the rumors that have been spun have been very ugly, very inappropriate, very hurtful, and has caused a lot of negativity to come towards us that's not even called for. I do want to say as well, I appreciate everybody that came today for public comment. Whether we agree or not, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has their right to say their opinion, as long as it is respectful. I appreciate those that have stuck around, because a lot of people came and gave opinions, and not everyone can stay, I understand, but so many people left instead of hearing the feedback, the presentation. So thank you for those who have stayed around. We are all here on this board serving because we care about children. People that work in this department are former educators who care about children. So, these standards have been long overdue for an update. It's clear, hopefully, now to everyone that parents have the option to opt out. This is not something we're trying to force on parents or schools. There are schools who have already been teaching these things. This is just to give them current guidelines to do that. Thank you.
Senator Bullock and,
Go first.
okay, Mr. McMillan.
Yeah, something happened today I've never seen before, and I think it's just for optics, so the media makes it appear that there's a lot of support. I have never seen, the department say that the board got this number of emails in this period of time in support or opposition. At first, I don't know how you'd know. If they came to one of us instead of you. The idea that we're counting emails now and there's no way to back that up or verify it. The only thing that can be verified is the official public comment, which was overwhelmingly 78% against. And then you saw that and said, oh no, now what do we got to do? And so you had made up this thing that I've never seen before, you've never done before.
Made
And
up.
so
You cannot disrespect the staff.
I'm making a comment. I can certainly say that. This
You
is something I've
cannot-
never seen
You
before.
cannot disrespect the staff.
If they do something that is disrespectful, yes, I can. Number two, uh, Elliot Larson, I hear about Elliot Larson. There's nothing in Elliot Larson that requires these in the sex standards, sex ed standards. There's nothing that requires it. So let's make that very clear. Number three, and I don't know exactly what I said about grooming, but what I was pointing out is that the actual health education topics that are in statute are only mentioned 151 times, whereas sex and gender is mentioned 253 times. And I would say that that does seem to be standards for grooming kids. So you can take that as you want. And
Thank-
fourth, I would just mention that to remind everybody that what Jesus said about a millstone and those that cause one of these little ones to stumble or sin.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan. I just want to point out, if I may, I just want to point out that, yes, we did look at the comments that came in. They were sent to us as well. We decided to look at them and count them. Could you?
You have no idea.
Excuse me, Mr. McMillan.
Well, you're not telling the truth.
Excuse me, Mr.
Brother.
McMillan.
How would you know what came to me?
Because it was sent to me as well.
You don't know.
You weren't. You're not in there.
I don't trust my email.
Mr. McMillan.
You're just telling me not one email was sent to me and not you? Is that what you're saying?
Mr. McMillan. My second part of that is,
You know you're not telling the truth.
I am telling the truth, Mr. McMillan. And if Sari disagrees with your point here, we wanted to make sure that we didn't just cut off some parents. We wanted to include all parents, because had we just did the formal part of the survey, then we would have gotten pushback saying you didn't listen to all parents. So we listened to all of the comments, or we read the comments, we recorded the comments, so that and even though there's a certain percentage that is opposed, they were opposed for a reason. The main theme of that reason is opt-out. One of the reasons why the document is now 71 pages long versus the 50-some pages long is because we listened to what people said. So if you're suggesting in the future that we not listen to what parents or people say, please say so now.
Well, first, don't disrespect me, because that's
Okay.
not what I'm saying.
Okay, what are you saying,
But-
Mr. McMillan?
Well, because, first of all, don't say that you know what's in my email box or any of ours. And second, you've never done this before, have you? You've always said public comment. I've never seen a document in 9 years that says, here's the official public comment was this or this. And by the way, in the last 2 weeks, you all got emails that said this. That's never been. It's only because you guys saw 78% opposed and you had to freak out and come up with some other idea. Nobody can verify that it was just opt-out, being removed or any of that. This is just numbers. They're not public. So, and just finally, this whole opt-out thing, it's very clear that you all know very clearly that there's no penalty. That's what was said, no penalty for not making sure that parents have warning about opt-outs. So without penalty, and I'd urge that there should be a firing if it's done twice. There should be $5,000 for the district every time. I mean, if that was there, then I might trust you all and trust what's going to happen. But we know, we were given testimony that parents will not be given the opportunity to opt out, which is why these standards shouldn't have stuff that parents have to worry about opting out. It's ridiculous.
Thank you, Mr. McMillan. Senator Bullock.
This is just so much garbage going on. So part of what I want to, I got two things I want to do. First, this notion that, percentage-wise, who's this, what that, You guys make a lot of statements about, we all know, everyone knows. Well, I don't be agreeing or knowing, and I know you're wrong. So that stuff has to go. You make a lot of statements, and then y'all don't want to retract, you pull back. You're so used to debating and fighting, you say things that aren't totally correct. She threw out Title IX. Title IX was not created for sports. Let's just be clear. Sports dominates what Title IX does, but it was created
Not
to
it.
put women into professional spaces in the universities and not be discriminated on. It's just like affirmative action. It's a black civil rights thing, but white women benefit more than any other person. It, it's misconceptions to it.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
we gotta stop just throwing out just spaghetti on the wall and hope this stuff sticks.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank,
Now, I do want to say, I heard some things that resonated with you. Young lady, I want you to, I am really heavy on mental health, behavioral wellness, and I appreciated your words earlier today. Um, Somebody, words, ignorance was thrown around a couple times. Uh, we got to be careful how we use these things, or say these things. But all parents do have rights. I like a lot of people talked about all parents have rights and their children's have rights, not just the people who oppose the proposal.
Right.
It's not I'm a parent and I got rights, but you don't have any. Because parental rights come with a responsibility. And there was a gentleman that said, this is just a small step forward or a first step forward into making this better or finding the way to a better space with that. But some people have clearly people got views, but some people got outdated views. And there's been an abundance of orchestrated talking points and myths going around. But let's be clear on this one thing. Health education includes sexual awareness. No matter how people want to dissect the sex ed,
Yeah.
health education includes it. If not for physical health, it's for the safety or social and emotional wellness of our students. So, and then parental rights are not absolute. Again, for lack of a better term, with school systems, I think the word is balanced. It's supposed to be a balanced, shared responsibility with parental rights, I think. But, with all of that, I digress.
thank you. Next is Ms. Snyder.
All parents have rights, but no one parent or group of parents has the right to weaponize a government-run school to adopt the values and beliefs that they feel they should push.
Exactly.
That's what's happening right
Touche.
here.
Thank
When
you.
you say there are more than two genders, when you say there are distinct concepts, you are using the government and you are using government-run schools to push your beliefs and views. And that violates the parental rights of those who disagree with you. That's a problem. I'm gonna round out my comment with, we just went through superintendent interviews. I thought the best interviewer, and it was very clear she blew everybody out of the water multiple times with multiple interviews. She was really succinct. She knew our statute, I would say, better than anybody else did in this room. She was very good. She said that it was incredibly important for the state of Michigan to depoliticize our public education policy. And oftentimes it's very interesting when I run into people and they say, oh, the State Board of Education, you guys are so political. I just want to really put the responsibility of the political nature of this board on where it really belongs. Because when we are presented with health education standards, guidelines that we didn't develop, and it blows up like this, and it's a button the department can press every single election because they have power they've abused too many times over, that's not the State Board of Education going politically rogue. That's a department that has gone politically rogue and the tail is wagging the dog, and it has got to stop.
Point of order.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Next, Dr. Pugh is supposed
Okay.
to be Dr. Pugh.
And we do have a vote that's on the table.
Yes.
So, but I did want to mention something because I was here. I was here when we did the social studies standards. I was here when we updated the science
standards. Was anybody else here? Okay. So,
We
who would recall that we talked about who was engaged? We looked at numbers. As Board Member Tilly mentioned, and I'm just providing some examples of what that looked like. If you go back to that process, Board Member Snyder, you would see that this was a similar process. It was the same process. They
held meetings all around the state
Mr. McMillan,
for social
Miss,
studies.
Mr. McMillan. Dr.
we,
Pugh, keep going with your statement.
there were complications with the social studies standards. Remember, because the original body that helped the department to develop the standards was overshadowed by a Republican legislator. And that is why we had to redo them. And we collected information across the state. Similar
Mr.
to what Board Member Tilly mentioned, that we can bring, when the board does bring items like I brought today, we can make changes to the standards. But to make that statement that this has never been done before, I won't use the L word, but it's not the truth.
Thank you, Dr. Pugh.
Wait a minute.
Dr. Pritchett.
Thank
I
you.
said never done before, it was just the emails, that's what I said. We've never done that before.
Mr. McMillan, you don't have the floor right now.
Okay, well, it's called the liars. Thought I'd address it.
Thank you,
with
Mr.
An
McMillan.
L word.
All right. Dr. Pritchett.
Well, I want to thank all the individuals who have communicated with us over the last 2 months, be it via email, coming to the meeting, or calling in. In my career as a public educator in all sorts of environments, communication is absolutely paramount. And it became evident that there was confusion. And so I appreciate the department looking at that and going, okay, we need to monitor and adjust here. Let's hear it from Madeline Hunter. And reorganize these and make it crystal clear that there is statute in Michigan that protects this process. And that statute includes, in fact, is number 1 with parent input and parent choice. Ms. Tilly is absolutely correct. If a district chooses not to teach sex education, they don't have to teach sex education, but their sex advisory committee normally makes that decision along with the administration. And my guess is there's probably some districts in the state that don't. And that's based on their community and their feedback from their community. So again, I appreciate you taking that step and going, okay, we've got to go back to the drawing board and make this clear. So I believe the document is much clearer at this point, and it's delineated very well. And just as to help Mr. McMillan here, any email I received in the last month or since these standards have been out that I received from a concerned citizen automatically went to Dr. Carnell. That's the way I manage things. That's how I am a board member. If I get an email from an individual in the state, a parent, legislator, whoever, who has a concern, whatever the concern is, then I'm going to pass it on to Dr. Carnell. So some of those emails within the account came from me. Whether they went to you or any other board member, I have no idea, because it came out to Judith Pritchett. But just so you're aware of the fact, you're questioning why we've never done that before or where those numbers came from. I can tell you personally, many of them came from me, of individuals who were communicating with me, because that is my style. That's what I do. So that way the administration knows, okay, we've got a concern out there, and then I leave it in their hands. And one more thing on standards, I've been coming to these board meetings longer than Pam has, even by probably a year or so, because I used to sit over here as part of my job. The board has always used this process for standards, whatever they've been, ELA, social studies, any standards. There's always been a public comment period. There's always been a time when the staff has come back and said, here's changes we've made, et cetera. I didn't see any change in that at this point. So again, I appreciate your work on this. Thank you.
Ms. Tilly.
To add on to a couple of things that Dr. Pritchett said, you guys took the time to get over 1,000 surveys turned in. We're not talking about you just reached out to 1,000 people. In order to get those turned in, you had to reach out to way more than that. So I think that, and not only with the surveys, we've had public comment, we've had emails, we've had phone calls. The staff has been good with sharing the messages, the voicemails, making sure that we're getting those in addition to the emails. So we've had a lot of people chime in on either side. One thing that I do want the department to speak to is Elliott Larson, because I think there's confusion around that. Because none of us has said that it's mandated by Elliott Larson. We've said that it aligns to Elliott Larson. So if the department can explain that, please, for the public.
So as I said, oops, it is still on, okay. As I said, Article 8, Section 3 of the Michigan Constitution requires both MDE and local districts to follow all laws. Elliott Larson is now a law in the state of Michigan since 2023. Elliott Larson includes provisions that ensure equal opportunities for a quality education, to promote inclusivity, which includes sexual orientation and gender identity. Does that help?
I understand, but I want to make sure that other people understand. And I do want to state also that the LGBTQ community is a community. They are a population. They attend public schools. We cannot ignore them, just like we cannot ignore special needs children, just like we cannot ignore foster children, just like we cannot ignore minority children or immigrant children or any children. So it is important that we are inclusive of all children, and that includes that community. We cannot ignore them because people are afraid of what definitions and terminology being shared with our children. You know, we live in a world today where people are out of the closet, where it's exposed on TV, on movies, on social media. It is everywhere. It's not the world that we lived in 20, 30 years ago or more. Going through the airport, I saw all kinds of ads. Every ad had LGBTQ families on posters. It is in our face. You cannot hide from it. Children see it. Children have questions. And again, if you do not feel comfortable as a parent with it being taught in sex ed in your school, if your school is teaching sex ed, please talk to your schools, opt out. You have that right. It is your right. It is your choice. But there are also parents that would like their children to learn sex ed, to learn about LGBTQ definitions. No one wants to groom anyone here. No one wants children to influence children to be a part of the LGBTQ community. But we do want to support children where they are, and it is definitely a human rights issue. There are a lot of children that have been bullied. There are adults that have been killed because of their sexual orientation. So we do want people to understand, let's stop being afraid of one another. Let's talk to one another. Let's understand one another. Even if we don't agree, let's take the time to respect one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tilly. Dr. Pugh? Thank you. Ms. Evans?
No, I call the vote for who moved, who made
On
the
the
motion?
motion.
On the motion,
Okay.
yes.
Dr.
yes.
Robinson and Ms. Tilly.
Okay.
To approve.
Very good. Bullock,
Yes.
voting on the,
Yes.
okay, very good. Lipton,
Yes.
McMillan,
No.
Pritchett,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Snyder,
No.
and Tilly.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, presenters. Report of the State Board President.
I don't have a report, but I do want to take just a few minutes to say that I am a Christian. I do know that parents know best. Parents should and do have a right to opt their children out. This is opt-outable standards, not only for parents, but also for school districts. And I am proud of what we just did. We make safer spaces for students, all students. And I think that it's time for us to start spreading and acknowledging and sharing what truly these standards are and are not. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Next is the report of the interim state superintendent. I just want to thank the board members and the staff who worked on preparing for this meeting. There was a lot of logistical pieces and it ran smoothly. So from blue ribbon schools to public participation, I thank you very much. Just to the board, as of November 7th, MDE has processed and released approximately 37 grants, which is about 32% of the funding that we have. We'll continue to send out to issue out those grants. I also want to thank the board for this opportunity to serve as interim state superintendent. It's been my pleasure, and thank you for the faith and belief that you had in me. So thank you very much. We accomplished a lot. We had two new superintendents meeting, and we're just clicking along with the support of all of the staff members here and those who were here earlier today. Now, it is up to the board. We are prepared as a staff to send you the legislative report, or would you like to hear the legislative report in person?
Email me.
I'll call on you, Senator Bullock. Dr. Pugh.
I just have like one question, and I'm forgetting which section, but it has to do with the school safety. And there was an extension for the waivers for the schools. And I just wanted to hear just a little bit about that, because I have gotten questions about that.
So do you want to talk about that?
Section 31AA.
Yes.
31AA has a portion which has per pupil payments. You need me to go to a different mic? No, I'll get you one. Per pupil payments, that the whole section has some pieces in it that have requirements of districts that we have been served a lawsuit, so we can no longer talk about it. But the due date for the opt-in is November 30.
So the law requested that if you want the funding, you had to waive your rights for catastrophes, 2 or more kids.
Not appropriate.
And some districts are deciding not to do that, some are. Okay. All right, anything else? Comments from, so state and federal, shall we send that to you by email?
What are we referring to?
Pardon? The legislative update.
There was nothing passed, correct? Nothing out of,
We can bring people to the table if
Oh,
you
it's
want,
fine.
or, okay. So we will forego that for the sake of time, and we will send it to you via email. Comments by the State Board of Education members?
Robinson to provide his brief.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I need to go back. Thank you, Liz, Ms. Evans. Dr. Robinson, you want a couple of minutes to talk about NASB?
10 seconds. I went to Austin, presented a session, was well received, had a good time. Thank you all.
Good night, God bless, good night.
Ms. Bridget? SBE Legislative Committee, anything you want to talk about?
No, it'll be in the email. Thank you.
Comments by State Board? Senator Bullock?
Have a happy holiday.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
I just want to say thank you so much for serving. You are the first African American woman to sit in that seat. You are highly respected in the field. Thank you for your years of service, your dedication to our children, and making sure that while we are in this transition that things are going smoothly. You are definitely feeling the heat from the seat. And you are doing it with grace. We thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. All right, so our future regular meetings of the State Board of Education are December 9th at 9:30, January 13th at 9:30, and February 10th. Are there any topics, if there are any topics that the board members would like to recommend for future meetings, please notify Ms. Evans or Dr. Maleko. Thank you, board members and presenters and everyone for participating today. This concludes the State Board of Education meeting on November 13th. We stand adjourned at 5:46.